Harvey, Steve Harvey, who is a very wealthy man, very intelligent man. Steve Harvey made a comment that I saw, and I meant to address this, and I want to address it today. There's a comment that Steve Harvey made in a motivational speech where he said that rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. He said rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. They just grind. Sometimes they pull all-nighters. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit and dispel some myths related to success and sleep. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we believe in black wealth and black economics, and we talk about black wealth all day, every day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day under one condition. The condition is that we are black first. You ain't got to be black to be here, but we are representing the black community 100%. We do not apologize for any of that. So if you're not black and that offends you, then you should probably get to stepping because this ain't going to work out for you. Anyway, put your B1 in the chat, B1 to let me know that you're black first. Also, let me know what city you're from. Hey, Kabibi. Hey, Shelton. Hey, Max Jerome. I see you, Abdul. Let's see. I see Keller Legacy Enterprises. Good to see you. All right. So thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. The notification bell is very important because that's how we can notify you when we go live, because, you know, they sometimes try to shadow ban brothers that get too black on the internet. And also, I want to remind everybody, just, you know, there are fake Boyce Watkins accounts out there, and I don't want you to get taken. So make sure that if somebody reaches out and they're giving you their WhatsApp number or trying to inbox you, just know that that's not me. I do not do that, but they're on every platform. I cannot stop them. So just watch out for the scammers because they're pretty bad. All right. So how many of you, give me a yes or no, I'm asking a yes or no question. How many of you have heard that really great motivational speech from Steve Harvey, where he basically explains that I think he said rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day? Give me a yes in the chat if you've ever heard that statement. Shad from Philly, have you heard that statement? Give me a yes. Rashawn, have you heard it? Kabibi from Detroit, who's heard that statement? Corey says yes. Okay. Janine says yes. Give me some more yeses or no's if you haven't heard it. Give me a no. I want to see how many of you have heard the same thing I heard. It's a really popular viral video. Steve Harvey is a great speaker. Steve Harvey is very motivational. Steve Harvey is very, very rich. And so, you know, that gives some credibility to his advice. He worked very hard to be successful. He's from the old school. And I like that about him. I like the idea that he has certain principles of manhood that I definitely align with. And his goal is to mentor people. And I just respect that, you know. So shout out to Steve Harvey. Even if we disagree on some things, I really think overall he is he's better. He's good for the world, right? In his own special way. Now, here's what I want to kind of get into, though. I want to kind of, and I'm actually trying to find that quote. I want to specifically quote Steve in terms of what he said, and then we're going to start from that. All right, so let me see. Here we go. Steve Harvey. Okay, he says, rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. They ain't but 24 hours in a day. I'm going to try to use my Steve Harvey voice. They ain't but 24 hours in a day. You cannot be asleep 8 hours a day. So he said that to Oprah Winfrey, and he said that basically if you're sleeping 8 hours a day, you're sleeping away 1/3 of your life. Now, here's what I can agree with. Steve Harvey is saying, look, you got to grind to be successful. Okay, cool. You can't waste time. Get it. Right on. I agree 100%. I mean, in a third of your life, I mean, let's do the math real quick. I taught math, you know, so I should be able to do this math in my head. But let's take 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day times 7 days in a week is 56 hours in a week. So 56 hours over the course of a 52-week year. Let's do a rough estimate about what's that? Is that 2,600 hours a year? 2,600 hours a year. It's 26,000 hours in a decade. That's about 100,000 hours over a 40-year period. Or if you live to be 70, then you would almost not quite double that, but go to about 170, 180,000 hours. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. I mean, man, how cool would it be if we had that whole 180,000 hours available to grind with? And here's the scary part. This is one of the reasons why I warn y'all about the corporate plantation is And with the corporate plantation, you give even more than 8 hours a day to the corporate plantation. Like, think about it. If you work 8 hours a day, most people don't even work 8 hours a day. They work like 9 or 10 hours. But let's say you work 8 hours a day. You spend 1 hour getting ready for work and getting to work, another hour coming home from work. So that's about 10 hours a day. Really, it's more like 12. But let's say it's 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 50 hours a week. 50 times 52. That's about 2,500 hours a year. That's about 100,000 hours over the course of your life that you spent at a job. Right. So 1/3 of your life you spend in sleep. The other third of your life, at least a third, you're spending at your job. Tell me, are y'all processing what I'm saying? Give me a yes if you get what I'm saying, if you can understand how depressing that is. Just that thought that literally you're losing a good 2/3 of your life before you even get a chance to even enjoy anything. You spend more time at your job than you spend with your kids. You spend more time at your job than you spend with your spouse. You spend more time at your job than you spend with other Black people. You spend more time at your job with those pasty SOBs who treat you like the N-word every single day. Because why? Well, because nobody left you an inheritance. Nobody taught you economic literacy. Nobody taught you nobody started investing for you in the stock market when you were a kid. Because if they had, you'd have $250,000 in the bank, which means you could quit that job, but you can't. You can't, because people just left you with nothing. This is why financial literacy in the Black community is so important. And this is why we're not going to do that to our kids. Give me a yes in the chat before I move on. Give me a yes in the chat if we can agree that we're not going to sell our kids into corporate slavery. Give me a yes in the chat if you promise me that you're going to do your best not to set your kids up for really the gulag. Like, that's what the gulag, the corporate concentration camp. That should be the CCC, the corporate concentration camp, is where they get you locked down because you ain't got no inheritance, no wealth, no financial literacy, no business, no side hustles, no other streams of income, and a pile of student loan debt. Kaboom, you a slave, man. You are a slave. You're not Kunta Kinte style. Kunta Kinte was a different kind of slave. That was a more brutal form of slavery. We know that. Shout out to our ancestors and their sacrifice. But slavery is basically when you can't do what you want to do, right? I know 45-year-old people who have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. Like, that's got to be so. That's very degrading, right? I'm not making fun of you. It's what it is, right? Our kids don't deserve that. So we're gonna do better. Things like the $5 a day investing plan that I show you for free on my website, or if you want it in a book you can actually hold, you can go to Amazon and look up Dr. Boyce Watkins $5 a day investing plan. You can order that book on Amazon. It's right there. I have other books out there, so feel free to grab any of those books. All right, so we know how to kind of get away from that, but let's go back to Steve Harvey and this conversation about sleep. See, I used to believe that too. I used to believe I had a homeboy who's got a platform called Sleep is for Suckers, and I like that title a lot. It's very catchy, and you know what? And I totally understand that point of view. When I was working on my PhD, I was like, man, sleep it. Only fools sleep. You can't be up here sleeping. You got to stay up as long as you can. I was pulling all nighters. When I was working on my doctorate, I would study 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and I felt guilty for sleeping a full night. I really thought, this is for weak people. This is, I'm not going to achieve my goals. What's wrong with me? And I get it, right? I understand that. But then I started noticing a couple of things. When I was in college, I had this job where I would stay up. It was a graveyard shift job. It was a perfect job. It was at University of Kentucky, and I worked the front desk. And I had lots of crazy stories of drunk white people coming through the door, and they would sign in and call me the N-word or whatever. Like that poor little girl at the University of Kentucky who got attacked by the white girl because she was half drunk. Like, that was me. I was her 25 years ago because I had that exact same job in that exact same dorm. It went viral. Some of y'all saw it. But anyway. And what I noticed was that when I did not get to sleep at least 5 hours, I could not get back in sync. Has anybody ever worked a graveyard shift and just noticed how your body feels when you haven't really slept like a certain number of hours? Things just don't work right. I remember noticing, I said, why are my knees cold? Like, my knees would get cold. My nose would be cold. I would sneeze a lot. I would catch colds. I would sweat for no reason. I didn't understand. I was like, my body feels like I'm just dysregulated. I just don't understand. But at the same time, I was a young squirrel trying to get a nut. I was out here trying to hustle, trying to be somebody in the world. So I was like, okay, I got to fight through it. You got to fight through it. You got to fight through it. And my perspective has changed, right? I fought through some of it. I achieved a lot of goals. But as time went on, I'm going to tell you the truth. I started getting to the point where I said, man, I'm not going to miss no sleep over this. I can't do that because when I was missing sleep, I wasn't happy. I felt like absolute shit. It just wasn't fun. You know, and what fun is it to be successful if you hate your life the entire time? If you're just completely stressed out, your mental health is gone, you're grumpy as hell, you're tired, you're not focused, you know, whatever, right? So that was my journey in terms of saying, okay, is there a way I can get plenty of sleep and still be successful? Well, I can proudly tell you that for the last 25 years, I not only sleep 8 hours a night, I take at least one nap every day, maybe two. In fact, if they offered me a job, I kid you, I promise, I put this on a stack of everything. I put this on everything. I put it on a stack of Bibles. If somebody offered me $20 million a year to take a job, like let's say I got or let's say it's 7 or 8 million. Let's like Dion. Let's say I got the job in Colorado or something, right? Whatever. And they said, but the only requirement is that you got to come to work every day, and you have to miss your afternoon naps, and you might have to work with white people every day. Some of whom are going to be pretty nice, but some of whom are going to disrespect you because you're black. I would say absolutely no. Hell to the no. And the reason I wouldn't do it is because, one, I want my afternoon nap. Two, I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't work well. Slavery, I'm not fit for slavery. I would get fired on the first week of the job. So the point is to say that sleep mattered, and I figured out it mattered just intrinsically. I did not know the science behind it, and I'm actually going to give you guys the science, and I'm going to hopefully convince you, especially any young person that's trying to be successful, that literally not sleeping, I did not know this. But after sort of, you know, I married a therapist, and I also have a sister who's a medical doctor, and I did some research on the YouTube streets, and let me just tell you, not getting enough sleep, it doesn't just make you feel bad. It will actually kill you. It will actually kill you. It will actually kill parts of your body, like stuff like cancer and all that stuff is linked to a lack of sleep because your body is supposed to sleep. Now, before I do all that, if everybody could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, and subscribe. And my website is boycewatkins.com. And I wanted to mention to you all, Julian Gordon, who is an absolute mastermind at multifamily real estate, is going to join us for an event called the Emancipation Equation. And it's totally free. For anybody that wants to get started in multifamily real estate, Julian is Mr. Multifamily. He's the best on earth at this. He's our dean of real estate in the Black Business School. He's a brilliant brother. He went to UCLA, and I believe he went to Stanford also for grad school. And he's super smart, and he's super good, and he controls millions of dollars in real estate. He's going to join us in the Black Business School on Friday. I told y'all, we bring y'all the best of the best for a fraction of the cost, and this event is totally free. So if you'd like to join us on Friday for that event, just go to my website, go to boycewatkins.com. If you're watching on Instagram, you can hit the link in the bio. It's totally free. Join and bring your family. Real estate is one of the three, almost like the holy trinity of wealth. There's real estate, stock and bond investing, and also entrepreneurship. Those are the three things your children should understand before they turn 18. So if you want to, bring your kids, and we're going to meet on Friday night at 8 p.m. So join us. Just go to boycewatkins.com and you can join. You can register for free. Okay, so here's what we want to get. So we're talking about Steve Harvey and this quote about not getting enough sleep. And a shout out to Steve. Steve is a grinder. He's a hard worker. But I'm going to challenge this assumption a little bit. And so here's one thing I want to read to you guys. I read, if you quickly Google, according to the National Institutes of Health, what are some of the effects of a lack of sleep? And as I read each one, I want you to give me a yes in the chat if you know a black person or a white person, because everybody ain't got to be black. Just so y'all know, we don't hate nobody. We ain't got time to be hating people. If you know somebody who suffers from any of these ailments, okay, y'all ready? Okay. So according to the National Institutes of Health, sleep deficiency can be associated with heart disease. Give me a yes in the chat if you know any black person who has struggled with heart disease, had a heart attack, whatever, or maybe even not stroke. I guess that would, I don't know if that could be connected to heart disease. Anybody know a black person that struggled with heart disease, maybe had a heart attack, something like that? Okay. Kidney disease. Anybody know a black person that's had kidney failure? Give me a yes in the chat if you know a black person whose kidneys did not do what they were supposed to do. I know somebody just this week, a 30-something-year-old relative of mine announced that his kidneys have failed, and we're very worried about him. How about high blood pressure? Anybody know any black people Anybody in your family, your friends, anybody that is struggling with high blood pressure? That's probably damn near everybody. Half people in this chat probably deal with high blood pressure. I've battled high blood pressure. Okay. What's the all right? Anybody know? Give me a yes if you know. These are all associated with sleep deficiency. Okay. This is the whole idea, like you don't sleep, sleep is for suckers kind of mindset. Okay. So let's see. What's another one? Anybody know a black person struggling with diabetes? Diabetes. Any diabetes? Anybody know a black person who got diabetes? They probably make about 10 billion a year selling diabetes medication just to black people alone. Just to black people alone. Because they get you hooked on that sugar early, man. I didn't even know until I got older how deeply sugar is linked to cancer. Like that scares me because we've been on that sugar crack pipe since we was 4 years old. In the projects, drinking Aunt so-and-so's delicious Kool-Aid, right? All right, so let's see. What else? Give me a yes or no. Obesity. Anybody know any obese black people? Anybody know somebody that struggles with obesity? Or if you struggle with it yourself, you can put a yes in the chat. These are all symptoms of a lack of sleep. Does anybody know? The last one is depression. Does anybody know any black people that struggle with depression? Give me a yes or no if you or someone you know has struggled with depression or any related mental health issue. Okay, so let's circle back. Let's make this like kind of a full circle kind of thing. And this is my point. And my point is not to sit around and say Steve Harvey is a dummy. I'm not saying Steve Harvey's a dummy. He's not a dummy. He's very smart. He's very smart. But also remember, Steve Harvey he's not a medical doctor. You got thousands of black medical doctors that you ignore because we listen to the entertainers a little bit too much. I think the entertainers should have their voice for sure. White people put them on a big pedestal and everyone hears them. But remember, you've got millions of really intelligent black people who have a lot of skill that should also be listened to. And I just will have to stop to draw the line. I made D.L. Hughley a little bit upset. I heard he said some things about me on his radio show. I didn't even listen. I don't listen to banter like that. But D.L. got a little bit upset because I said that I don't think D.L. Hughley is qualified necessarily to be a primary spokesperson for black people on political issues. Now, if we were having Kings of Comedy Part 2, he should be on stage, not any of us, because he's a brilliant comedian. I mean, he's really that good. He's good at what he does. But he's not a diplomat. He's not a political scientist. He's not any of those things. So he shouldn't be a primary voice on politics. I get it. His platform is big, and there are some entertainers that want to use their platform for what they feel is the right thing. But unfortunately, they aim for the entertainers because they know the entertainers are not trained at the science. They know the entertainers they're not the scholars. They're not the thinkers. So what they'll do is they'll say, if we want to exploit the black community, let's push and mute the voices. Let's censor the scholars and the thinkers. Let's censor the smart people, and let's put the clowns on top. And when I say clown, and I call DL a clown, he has to agree with me because that's what a comedian is. Am I right? I mean, is a comedian not similar to a clown? That's what you do. You get in front of people and you tell jokes. And that's wonderful when the time is right. But the clown should not be the scholar. The clown is not the leader. The clown is not the king. Those are two separate responsibilities. And we need to have a little more delegation in our community in order to understand how to move forward, because we're not moving forward. Because when Joe Biden says, I want to have an interview with black people to talk to them about the issues that matter to black people. Well, who do I want to talk to? Well, do I want to talk to a thinker and a scholar, somebody who's really going to challenge me? No. I'm going to talk to Cardi B. He interviewed Cardi B. He had an interview with Cardi B, and Cardi B was representing the black community, even though she ain't even African-American. And she was doing exactly what you would expect Cardi B to do. She was, asking her little stupid questions because, she's probably scared that they're going to lock her up, because remember, she got those charges over here, poor thing. And so my point is to say at the end of the day, you got to be real careful about being overly influenced by entertainers, because a lot of entertainers will give you bad advice. Entertainers, they give all kinds of it. They give financial advice, they give therapy advice, they give medical advice, and when it's the wrong advice and you end up dying or your life goes to shit because you're listening to the wrong people, well, you have to step back and ask yourself, was I getting advice from the expert, or was I getting advice from somebody who just got put on a big platform? Because think about it. Would you ask me, if you're trying to become a professional comedian, would you come and ask me to show you how to be a professional comedian? What would happen if I tried to teach y'all how to be a comedian? I don't know how to be a comedian. That's that's tough. That's hard to do. Remember when D.L. Hughley was on Fresh Prince a long time ago, and Will Smith thought anybody could just be a comedian, and he went on stage and told a bunch of jokes, and he totally flopped. Anybody remember that? Anybody remember that episode? And D.L. came in and showed him how to do it and said, this ain't just something you could just wake up out, roll out of bed and do. And that gave me respect for what he does. So I respect the skill it takes to go tell jokes and to be a comedian. So it is with as much respect as I might have for him, he needs to have that same respect for people that are dealing with serious political issues in the Black community. Malcolm X talked about this. Malcolm X, years ago, he has a speech where he was saying that they always want to grab the entertainers and the clowns to represent the Black community. And then you wonder why there is no progress. Well, because unfortunately, they're not necessarily hip to exactly how things work. So the ideal scenario, and I'm going to go back to the Steve Harvey thing, but this is really just me giving y'all a stream of consciousness. I have to be honest. I can't sit here and lie. I know sometimes I talk and I offend people, but I can't worry about that right now. But I remember the best example I saw of an entertainer using their platform in an appropriate way was when Ice Cube went and wrote his contract for Black America. And when I first saw it, I said, oh, here we go. Let's see. Okay, another entertainer thinking they're going to lead the Black community. Let's see what he has to say. And I'm reading it. And I'm like, we need to do blah, blah, blah. Whoa, this is good. Whoa, this contains really good science. And this, what? Wow, these are really excellent recommendations. And then I find out that what Ice Cube did, and I give him so much credit for this, is he consulted with experts in the Black community. He said, okay, I understand this rap game. They put me out on top on this perch, but I'm not supposed to be out here by myself. I need to get backed by people that know what they're talking about. So when Ice Cube would go talk to people, there were a couple of times we would talk and I'd say, okay, here's the topic that you really need to pay attention to. This is what the people are actually saying. This is what matters to people right now. Make sure you understand the difference between this and this. And then he'd go and use his platform and literally lay it out in a beautiful way. And I would say, that is so great. That is so awesome. You know, so entertainers can play a role, but they don't need to take over the whole game, because when they do, they mess things up. They destroy entire movements. Nick Cannon came out and tried to get super gangster with the Jewish community, and they slapped him up like a little punk. They broke him down into little pieces in front of everybody. They butt broke him and completely undermined a massive movement because he didn't understand the difference between talking about it and actually being about it. And he didn't understand the difference between talking tough and being willing to make the sacrifice. The community is full of people who are marginalized and okay with that, who aren't getting the money that they could be getting because they've accepted the fact that they are really in this with both feet. And then you have people that want to kind of be in it with one foot. This is not a battle for the faint of heart. When you're talking about really trying to elevate a community, it requires a long-term commitment. Period. Okay, so let me get back to it. I didn't mean to go on that little tangent, but I had to share this idea, and I want to just sort of give you guys an honest stream of consciousness here. Do me a favor, if you could, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. I want to say hi to everybody on Instagram. And also, my book is actually out now. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I've been working on this book for a couple years, and this is designed specifically for those that want to build empires within their families. It is 10 simple rules, 10 simple commandments that can be applied that will turn your family into an economic behemoth within a generation. It talks about basically how to be what I call gang affiliated. In order to be economically successful, you must find your economic gang, your economic family, your clique, your tribe, whatever it is. You have to operate on code. You have to have standards of behavior. That means you got to confront certain behavior, like making a bunch of babies and not taking care of them, borrow money from your relatives and not paying it back. You can't do that. You have to deal with people that want to be dead weight on the family. You got to deal with a lack of commitment to educational progress. You have to deal with a lack of commitment to economic intelligence. We have to deal with all these things. So this book gives you a simple blueprint. It's designed to be easy to read. It's what 200, how many pages is this book? About it's not even 200 pages, literally. So feel free to go take a look. It's out on Amazon, or if you want to just go to my website, it's drboycebooks.com, and you can check all around it, drboycebooks.com. Okay, so let me kind of talk about a couple more things with Steve Harvey. We're talking about Steve Harvey's quote about sleep and that rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day, and I kind of challenge that a little bit because, you know, I'm not as rich as Steve Harvey, but I'm not broke. I have a lot of investments and all that. I sleep my ass off. This morning I slept 8 hours a day, and I'm about to leave y'all and take a nap in a minute. I'm a sleeper because sleep actually wakes my brain up. Sleep makes me feel good about the world. Sleep makes sure that when I am up, my time is productive. And one of the rules that I also apply that has really helped me a lot, because remember, I had to juggle a lot of stuff. When I was working on my PhD, they'll literally do crazy stuff to you in a PhD program. You have no idea. Like, I was literally sitting next to the most brilliant students on earth from China and Russia and all that. So they'll do something like, they'll give you a whole book and be like, you're going to get tested on this book on Friday. Like, or in 2 days, you got to know everything in this book. And it's not possible sometimes. Like, you're just trying to figure out, how do I do all this impossible stuff? So I understand being under that pressure where you feel like you can't sleep. And so one of the things that I actually learned to do is one thing I do, for example, is I take my day and I break it into these like 20-minute blocks. These 20-minute blocks, and I account for what I do with all my 20-minute blocks, and I budget them just like you budget money. Right. I say, okay, I got 20 blocks to work with, 20-minute blocks to work with, 20, and I'm going to do 20 things today that are going to improve my life in a certain area. And then what I also do is I limit the things that matter to me. I have 5 things on a list every year that I make that are the most important things in my life. These are the 5 things I take care of no matter what. So it might be running my business, taking care of my health. Me and my wife are into a fitness thing. We're trying to really get in shape. So health is important. Spending time with the kids, little things like that, right? And what happens is I then make a rule. I say anything that's not on this list of 5 is going to probably get pushed to the side. It's probably going to get pushed to the side. And that's why, for example, if somebody comes up to me with something that's not on my list of 5 top priorities, then you might be waiting a whole year to get a 5-minute conversation with me, because I'm handling the big things first. I'm making sure that my priorities get handled first. I also know that there's 8,760 hours in a year. I protect my energy like crazy. When I'm working, I turn off my phone. I don't want to hear no buzzes, no beeps, no nothing. I don't let my phones and social media control me. I go in for a while, I do my thing, and then I shut it off and I go live my life, right? So little rules in terms of time management are what will allow you to be successful and productive. I have so many people that think I work my ass, so they think I don't stop. They're like, Doc, do you ever sleep? You never sleep. It's like, yeah, I sleep more than you do. I just know how to automate. I know how to delegate, and I know how to manage my time. Like when I'm in it, I'm in it. When I'm not in it, I'm out. Right? That's it. It's not a lot of stuff that's just like fluff stuff. Or if I have a meeting, it's like, okay, what is the purpose of this meeting? If I can't see a purpose of this meeting that helps me achieve one of those 5 goals, then I'm not doing the meeting. I'm calling my assistant, like, hey, can you take this meeting? Because I ain't got time. I don't have the time for a 10-minute call, because it's going to be a 30-minute call, and then I'm going to be pissed off because I had to miss my nap over something that isn't helping me get closer to the final objective. And I play video games. Yeah, somebody said that. Yes, I love it. I play Call of Duty, and my son taught me how to play, and I love it, and I'm really good at it now. So the point of the matter is to say that really I learned that there are so many valuable resources that you have in your life, we have in our lives, that have nothing to do with money. See, we get caught up, we get distracted by the money. I know the money really well. I'm a professor of money, right? I understand money really deeply. And one of the things I understand about money is that sometimes we give the money too much attention and we forget about the wealth, because sometimes the wealth is different from the money. So ultimately in life, there's 3 general areas of life that measure quality of life: health, wealth, and relationships. Health, your physical and mental health; your wealth, which might be income and financial security, let's say, and then your relationships with the people that matter to you. Do you have healthy relationships? Are you managing those relationships properly? Are you investing in those relationships? Are you creating proper boundaries? And the more I started thinking that way, the more I realized a couple things that really helped me align to success in my own personal so-called success. One was, most of us as Black people need therapy. That's why I started hanging out with therapists. In the Black Business School, we created the first ever Black financial therapy department. It is the first one that I have ever seen. I've never seen a university that has a Black financial therapy department. My wife is the one who inspired me to think about this, because as I started talking to her about trauma and triggers and relationship management and all that, I said, I understand part of the reason that Black people are going broke. Our relationships fall apart. You know, you got black men murdering black men. You got black women that hate black men. You got black men that hate black women. You got black men that don't want to take care of their kids. You got black folks starting businesses and then they end up stabbing each other. Like all kinds of crazy stuff happens, and it all links back to trauma. It links back to things that happened when you were a kid that just kind of disrupted your view of the world. So my first thought was like, okay, we all need therapy, including me. So I do. I'm very proud. I will openly state that I talk to my therapist all the time because I love having somebody that can look at me from the outside in and say, okay, boys, these are some things we got to work on. Or I might be in a conversation and I'll text her and say, I really want to cuss this person out and slap them. Can you help me find a better way to handle this so I don't ruin this relationship? Like we all go through this, right? So if you don't have that outside entity kind of helping you see yourself in a different way, then you're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So as a good business investment for you to make right now, if you have the bread, is get yourself a damn therapist so you can deal with all the crap from your childhood that's making it hard for you to do basic things like get along with your husband well enough for you to build a business together, or for you to be able to connect with your kids in an appropriate way, or for you to be able to start something with other people and make that work. The second thing I realized is that time management is everything. Like the best thing I learned when I was in college, I realized that's when I found that I was pretty good at time management. I started when I was 19 years old, and I started by figuring out that there's 167 hours in a week. Is that right? Is that the number? Like 24 times 7, is that 167? Did I get that number? 168. I'm sorry. There's 168 hours in a week, right? So I was trying to figure out how to do well in college because I didn't belong in college. I had terrible grades in high school. And a lot of people will flunk out of college because they would just party and stuff. So I thought that going to the parties would cause me to flunk out. So I didn't want to go to the parties. But then I realized it wasn't the parties that caused people to flunk out. It's that they weren't doing anything in between the parties. Like they would go to the parties and they wouldn't do any studying in between the parties. So because I remember doing the math, I was like, okay, there's 168 hours in a week. I could sleep 8 hours a day. That's 56 hours of sleep time. That's 112 hours left. If I go to class, say 15 hours in a week, 112 minus 15 is 97. If I work a job for 40 hours a week, I work a full-time job, by the way, full-time job, I still got 57 hours left. That's 57 hours I can totally waste. But that's literally like 8 hours a day I could just throw away. And like I could sleep, I could watch TV, I could hang with my girlfriend, I could go play basketball. I could do everything. I could go to every single party on campus and still do well in school. I still have 57 hours to knock out my studying and still live my life, right? So when I saw it that way, it got me to the point where I started budgeting my time. And that same time budgeting system that I used at 18, 19 years old is the same one I use now. I still use that same type of system. And because once you realize how much time you have available to do all the things you have to do, and then you realize how important it is to shed off the fat, get rid of the BS that you're wasting your time on, you'll be amazed at how productive you can be, right? So that time management, time awareness, is just like money management. It's the exact same thing, except time is more valuable than money, because once you lose time, you never get it back. Like a lot of y'all feel like, okay, I'm young, I got the rest of my life ahead of me, I'm 25 years old. No, I was 25 too. And then you'll be 35, and then you'll be 45, and then you'll be 55. And what will happen is that time will never go backward. You will never, ever hit an age where you start getting younger. Every step, every time you move to the next stage in life, people are going to look at you. One day you're going to hit 35. They're going to start calling you ma'am and sir, and it's going to freak you out. And then you're going to hit 45, and you're going to have adult kids that act like you were never young. And then you're going to hit 55, and then people are going to send you AARP shit in the mail, and you're going to be like, what the hell is this? I'm not supposed to get this. And then you get older, and the next thing you know, everybody around you starts dying and getting cancer and stuff like that. And then it's over, game over. So you can't waste time. You can't waste time. So I'm not one to agree with what Steve Harvey says about not getting sleep. I think that's fine. I think you should sleep as much as you need to. Sleep until your body tells you to wake up. But where I will get on board with the hustle energy that I respect Steve Harvey for having is I'm just here to tell you, man, you cannot waste time. You cannot waste time. You can't even waste today. If you do use time, it's got to be an investment. It's got to be something that's going to help you become more efficient or get closer to that goal that matters to you. It doesn't have to just be financial. It could just be relating to your kids or whatever. But literally, when I'm thinking about my time, I protect that time. My most valuable resource is not the money in my bank account. And I got a little bit of money in the bank account. I got some money. No, my most valuable resource is my time and my energy and all these things that money cannot buy. So do not put yourself in a position where you're falling for some of this nonsense that's out here. There's a lot of stuff. The internet. I'll give you a concrete example. This is me telling you the truth. Do you know how many YouTube videos have been made about me in the last like 10, 12 years? Do you know how many people have there are people who have built entire YouTube channels basically saying, I hate Boyce Watkins, and Boyce Watkins is a bastard, and he's saying things that they don't know nothing about, whatever. Literally. Guess how much time I have spent watching any of those videos? I don't even watch 30 seconds of it. I don't watch 30 seconds of it. Because number one, I don't want to get triggered. If somebody's sitting there telling lies about you, it'll just make you mad. And then number two, I know it's a waste of time. It's drama. It's BS. It's stupid. Okay. You're making your money. Good for you. I'm not even, no. So when I'm on the internet, I'm using the internet to accomplish a goal. I'm either on the internet achieving the goal of figuring out how to run a better business, or right now I want to be an airplane pilot. I have that goal. So I'm on the internet watching airplane pilot videos all day so I can be a good pilot and not get killed. Or my goal might be just to relax. I'm a football fan. I watch all the NFL games on YouTube because they condense them to where they're 12 minutes because I don't want to waste time watching a whole football game. That's the only time I'm on the internet. Or watching financial news. I'm keeping up with what's going on in the stock markets and all that because I'm about my investments, my bread, and my legacy, and taking care of me, my wife, and kids. I ain't got time for these fools. I'm not going to sit here and watch some rapper talk about how he shot somebody last week and got 14 babies mamas. That's not of interest to me. None of that is. So what I would just say to you is figure out who you are, what you want, and what matters to you, and get a system and a process that really works for you. And to hell with the rest of the world. The more you try to become extraordinary, the more you may not fit into certain spaces. And that's okay. It's okay to be an alien. It's okay to be a little weird. Just switch your circle a little bit and find other people that are weird like you, weird in the same way, who are high achievers just like you, and they will propel you to do bigger and better things. Don't waste time trying to explain all this to people who just ain't going to quite get it, or who are going to think you're uppity for trying to help them out. All right. So that's my 2 cents, man. By the way, there's something that you can have for free. If this kind of thing interests you, there's actually something. I did create a whole life class, and it's but we decided to make it free because I want everybody to learn this stuff. And it's called blackkeystogreatness.com. And there's no price on it. Like, it's totally free in the Black Business School. And literally, Black Keys to Greatness is literally kind of a brain dump where I wanted to lay out all my strategies for success because I had a whole system. And it's worked. When I was at the University of Kentucky, I was the number one Black student. I don't know about the white students. I was the number one Black student on the campus for 4 years when I was there. I had the highest grade point average of all the students on campus. And not only did I have the highest GPA, but I worked a full-time job. Sometimes I'd have 2 jobs. I was always on the basketball court. And I also, I would take extra classes. Like, I wouldn't just take 15 hours or whatever. I wanted a challenge. So I would take 21 hours, 26 hours, whatever, right? And people didn't understand. Nobody could understand how in the world do you find the time to do all this, like, and make such good grades. And they didn't understand. I figured out the secret to time management. If you get time management mastered and time awareness and consciousness down, you'll blow people away by being incredibly productive, and they won't understand how you're doing it. It'll look easy to them. You'll make it look easy. So learn how to manage your time. That's my message for today. And that way you can sleep your 8 hours and still be good. No disrespect to Steve Harvey. I like him, for the most part, but that's a piece of advice that I think is not good, because I mentioned to you guys earlier. I'll just read them again real quick. Here are the symptoms that are linked to sleep deficiency: heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, obesity, and depression. I don't want you to have any of those things, because you remember, life is about health, wealth, and relationships for the most part. If you are so busy on your grind trying to get wealth that you do not take care of your health, then you will lose all your wealth trying to go unsuccessfully get your health back. You won't get it back. Once you're that sick and you're messed up from all these ailments, you ain't gonna get it back. They'll just give you a bunch of medication, expensive medication, to manage it so that you don't die as quick as you would otherwise. But your quality of life will disappear. You'll never go back to how you felt when you were young and free and 22 years old. So just keep that in mind. Get your sleep. But when you wake up, that 14 hours or whatever you have per day, handle your damn business. Be a grown-up. Shut out that bad energy. Stop wasting time with losers. Just walk away from those conversations. Turn off your phone. Stay out of your email and out of social media until you have the appropriate time. Control all of that. Don't let that stuff control you. That is how you become successful. And that's my 2 cents. And I appreciate you guys for listening. I hope it helps somebody. All right, guys. So do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you'd like to join us for the multifamily event, multifamily real estate event on Friday, you can go to boycewatkins.com. It's totally free. Julian Gordon is going to introduce you to multifamily real estate if that's something you want to look into. It's a great way to generate streams of income. Real estate is actually one of the greatest wealth building mechanisms that there are. So if you'd like to join us for free on Friday, at 8 p.m., you can go to boycewatkins.com. The link is right there at the top, and hope to see you guys then. So take care. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. God bless you, and I will see you soon. Have a good day, everybody. Peace.